popularity of AI agents is at an all-time high right now, but still, most people don't realize the incredible power that we have at our hands. For example, I just made essentially a second brain for myself, and I'm gonna show you how it works and what it does. For example, I'm currently taking the Wing Yang Stage Academy course to enhance my communication skills. So here is one of my notes that I took in that class. I just go ahead and drop this right here. And the response comes, done. Your memory is safe with me. So now let's see, where is our memory? What are vocal foundations? As you see, the vocal foundations are tone, volume, speed, rate of speech, melody, pause, and self-awareness. This was an image, and it was a fairly messy one, but the agent still was able to extract all the information and answer my question. But it's a small note. What if I have a bigger note? So I've dropped this one about how psychology works, and it's a much longer note. Again, done, your memory is safe with me. But what if I'm listening to a podcast and I want to remember a very specific part of it? For example, the Huberman Lab podcast. This is the Huberman Lab podcast.
What are the habits that the most successful students seem to incorporate over and over again? I'm going to focus on the top 5 or 6.
And I just hit send. Again, done, your memory is safe with me. And don't worry, it's gonna do more than that. But to show you something very interesting later, I just write a note that is completely wrong. Tallest tree in the world is 3 centimeters. Okay, done, your memory is safe with me. But how about the longer note? Like, what is the psychoanalytical theory? Again, psychoanalytical theory founded by Sigmund Freud in the early 20th century, and the rest of the text is extracted from the image. How fast is a BMW? There was nothing relevant. How about something that the model would normally believe otherwise? Like, how tall is the tallest tree in the world? The tallest tree in the world is 3 centimeters tall. So you can be confident that the AI is just retrieving your memory and it doesn't make shit up. How the most successful students study. I have a typo here, but it's fine. The most successful students typically study alone for 3 to 4 hours per day and blah blah blah, everything from the Huberman Lab podcast. And as if that wasn't amazing enough, the agent also makes separate pages for each of my notes, like how psychology works, and you can see the entire text that was inside the image. Also, for smaller notes that I don't want a separate page for them, the AI agent goes ahead and saves everything in a Notion database, like the tallest tree in the world is 3 centimeters. So how did I make this and how you can replicate it for yourself? First of all, you can join my free community in the description, download the template, plug it here, and it just works. But if you want to learn how to do it yourself and essentially build anything using AI agents, I'm gonna give you an overview of the project and how it was done. The first thing you need to do is to visit na10.io and get started there. Na10 is a workflow automation tool that looks like this. When you enter na10, this is the first page that you see. You create a workflow. And here is your blank canvas to start your project. The most basic concept here is a node. For example, I say a Telegram node. Then on message, we have to do some configuration, and then we have a node. Telegram on message node is a trigger node. This is where the workflow starts, and every workflow has to have at least one trigger node. So the concept of a node is very simple. There is an input, there is some configuration inside the node, and then there is an output. And a trigger node is a node that gets its input from outside the workflow, like a Telegram on get message, which gets its input from the Telegram app. So to connect this node to our Telegram, we have to do some configuration. We double click on the node and we have this page. I've already configured 2 accounts, so if it's your first time, you have to click on create new credentials. Then you'll need an access token. Fortunately, Telegram has made it very simple. You just open the Telegram app and you search for the bot fodder. Here's the official bot fodder. You click on it and you say /new bot. You choose a name for your bot. I say new test bot. Then you have to choose a unique username that ends with bot. So apparently this is not unique enough. So I say new test 22SSS bot. We made a new bot. You just have to copy this and paste it right here. When you hit save, we're gonna get a green message that it was done. Okay, we connection tested successfully. So here's the magic of NA10. You can test each step as many times as you like. For example, I say test step. Then we go to Telegram and write something inside our new bot. Start. Okay, message received. So we can go ahead and just try again. Like, hi. And again, message received. So this node is working well. By the way, when we click this trash bin, we delete the current data inside the workflow. So now we are receiving a message from Telegram. But as you see, let's do it another time. Hey test. As you see, the message has a lot of metadata and we just need this part, hey test. So we add another node, edit fields. And we can just drag and drop this field that we need right here and hit test again. Again, magic of NA10. You can test this single node as many times as you like without starting the whole workflow all over again. For example, I can delete this and use another field and just test this single node again. You see, it changes right away. So we go back to our hey test. Now we want to save our message in a Notion page. So we add another node, Notion, create a database page. Again, I already have an account, but you want to make new credentials. So to get this internal integration secret, we go back to Notion, but I unfortunately don't know the navigation to that page. So you just have to go to Notion/profile/integrations. And in this page, you see I already have an integration here, but we can make another one right now. We choose a name, we call it memory test this time. And you can make it public or internal, and I'm gonna leave it as internal. You can add a logo, but it's fine. Then we click here, we click show, and we copy this secret. And we paste it here, click save, and we should see, yes, connection tested successfully. But this doesn't mean we have access to Notion yet. Each individual page in Notion has its own accessibility. Since our page is a database page in NA10, we make a database page on Notion. This is the page that is going to contain our data. But the important part is that we go to these three dots in the corner, connections, and then we find the integration that we just made, memory test. And then we hit confirm. We go back to NA10 and we should be able to find our database. Here it is, memory test. So let's test it again. Test workflow. Go to Telegram. Hi. But there is nothing in the Notion page. It actually made a record, but it's empty. So there must be something wrong. We visit this. Oh, we forgot to add the text from the previous node. So we have to add a title here. We forgot to take the message from the previous node and add it to Notion. So let's test it again. And this time the response is not empty. So we go back to Notion and here it is. It worked. So now we need a response in Telegram to know that the workflow was completed. We again go Telegram, then we say send a text message. Again, we choose the same account, but we need a chat ID and we need the text. So we try again. Oh, actually, there is a bug in Notion that we can't leave these empty. So I'm gonna just write something. Test the workflow. So we won't get any response, of course. And we need to drag the chat ID, and we just need a fixed text. So I'm just gonna say done. Okay, message was received, done. So the part about saving our data in our Notion to read ourselves is done. But now we need to save our data somewhere that the AI can quickly access and answer our questions. For that, we need a database like Supabase. Visit supabase.com and make an account. Supabase is actually a backend data service and it offers a lot of different databases. But we are going to use a vector database. And I will give you an overview of vector databases a little bit later. For now, You make your new organization, then you go ahead and make a new project. We call it testing. Make sure you remember your password, and we create our project. So now while we are waiting for our project to be set up, we go back to NA10 and we add a new node, Supabase vector store. Add documents to vector store. Here again, I already have an account, but we need to create new credentials. We go back to Supabase. We scroll down and here is our URL. Paste it here. So now our project is set up. We go to project settings, data API, and here is the secret. Don't worry, I'm gonna change this before publishing the video, and we're gonna put this right here. Connection created successfully. Now we put this right here, and we need to get the data from the edit fields. But we still need two other things. First, we need an embedding model, which we can choose from different models, but I'm gonna use OpenAI. Again, we need credentials. I have two separate OpenAI accounts. It's very simple. You just go to your OpenAI account, go to your profile, then API keys, and then create a new secret, default project, then secret key. I'm gonna copy this. Again, I'm gonna revoke all of these keys before publishing this video. And you paste it here. But then you choose text embedding 3 small. That's the standard. Then we need a document loader, so we choose the default data loader. It's fine. Then we choose recursive text splitter, and we'll leave it as is. Sorry, I had to leave for the gym. So where were we? We set up our Supabase database, but now if we try to run this, we are gonna get an error because we didn't choose our table. So to set up a super fast vector database, we click on documents, then we come here and we just copy this. We go back to Supabase SQL and we run this code. Okay, we go back to table editor and we should have a new table here, and here it is. So this is our vector database. There's ID, there is content, there's metadata, and embedding vector. So I think it's a good time to talk about vector databases right now. Imagine that you ask that AI about the vocal foundations, but there might be millions of records right here. So which one of these records should the AI look for its answer? That's when the vector database comes into play. Every time you want to store data in your database, this embedding machine right here looks at your data and assigns a vector, which is a number right here, to that data. And that number represents the semantics inside your documents. So when later you ask a question, your AI passes your question to the database. And the database decides based on these embedding numbers which one of these records is relevant to your question. Then the AI receives all of those relevant documents and answers your question based on them. So now that we have our table, we just go here and we choose our documents table and we run the test again. We delete our data, test the workflow, 5 centimeters. Okay, we get done and looks like everything worked. It should appear right here in a moment. So let's refresh the page. And yeah, it worked. There might sometimes be more than one record, but that's fine. It often splits your documents into chunks, so there might be multiple records for each document. So now that we have our data inside the database, we need an AI agent to ask it questions. For that, we need to make a separate bot and add another Telegram message node. But since we've already shown how it's done, I'm gonna copy this node from my previous workflow. Again, we should test it out, but remember, this workflow is not active. This one is not active as well. If you want to activate it, you should click on this one. But for testing purposes, I just click on test workflow and it tests the workflow just once. If you want it active in the background, you need to activate it right here. So since this one is not activated and we are not testing a workflow, when I'm testing right here and we are messaging the same bot, we are going to see this right here, not in this one. So the message was received and yes, it works fine. So now we need an AI agent. We search for AI agent. The AI agent needs a chat model. So we go ahead and we search for OpenAI chat model. I'm going to use the same account. You should have your previous account as well. Had trouble loading and now it's okay. I'm going to use GPT-4o mini for this one. So here's the chat model. We need the memory. This memory keeps the memory of our current conversation. So I'm just going to use window buffer memory. Context length, I'm going to specify 10. The amazing thing is this agent knows how to use tools. So we are going to add a vector store question answer tool. So this tool connects us to the vector database. Storage, and we need to give it a description. Retrieve information about my stored data. But this tool now needs to access our vector database. So we go ahead and add Supabase vector store. We choose the relevant table. Again, we need an embedding model to generate that number that represents our question. So we go ahead and add the embedding tool, text embedding 3 small. And finally, we need another chat model that is connected to the database. So we choose GPT-4o mini again. Obviously, when our workflow reaches an answer, it needs to respond to us on Telegram. So I'm again going to copy this node from my previous workflow because we've already shown how it's done. So now if we run this, we are probably going to get an error. So we go ahead and ask, how tall is the tallest tree in the world? We get an error, and it's because we didn't specify the text message from the Telegram. So we should go define below as an expression, and then we drop this right here. So we test again. Okay, there's another error, no session ID found. Put this aside for a second. I'm going to use the chat trigger. Okay. And the chat trigger is a helpful node if you want to debug anything inside your workflow. So you just click on chat right here and you can test it really fast. So how tall is the tallest tree in the world? So we have another problem. Because we changed the previous node, we have to change this as well. So let's try again. Okay, so now it worked. What was the answer? The tallest tree in the world. Oh, as you see, the tallest tree in the world is a coast redwood, blah, 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 blah. But this is not our answer. Why? Because we didn't specify that we want all of our answers to be from the database. So the model uses its own knowledge as well. So to force it to only use our data, we have to give it a system message. I'm going to copy it from the previous workflow. I'm going to put the system message in the description for you. But just to get a gist of it, I said it's important to answer the questions from the database. And if you don't know, you should simply say there was nothing relevant. And every time at the end, the AI says, feel free to ask any other questions. So I said, do not say it. So let's try again. And it worked. So the tallest tree in the world is 5 centimeters. So now let's see what was wrong with our Telegram node. So we connect it again. We test the workflow. No session ID found. There might be something wrong here. Because it by default, it expects the session ID from this chat node. This gives you an error. So we are going to say define below, and we are going to copy this from my previous workflow. It basically says to get the session ID from the Telegram trigger. And if you want to see it, it's like this. So let's try again. We don't need this chat anymore. again, because we changed this, we have to change it back. So we're going to add this and delete this one. So let's try again. Okay, so now it worked. The tallest tree in the world is 5 centimeters. Now we only need to add vision and voice. And because a lot of it is repetitive, so I'm just going to show you inside of my previous workflow. So the answering workflow is exactly the same. But for receiving different types of data, we need a switch. We need a switch node to decide which one of those types of data was received. If there was a photo, we go this route, which is image. If there was a text, we go this route. And if there was a voice, we go this route. So to fill these fields for each of our options, we need to run tests and see where is our desired data for each of these paths. So we run a test, then we send an image. Okay, the image was received. So in the input, we scroll down and we see there is a photo. So if the JSON message photo exists, that means this is a photo. So I've done it once. I'm just gonna keep one of these. So that's how we know we have a photo. Now let's run the test again, this time for a voice message. This is a voice message. This time we look for voice and then we drop the file ID right here. So if there is a voice with a file ID, that means we have a voice message. And for the text, it's the same as before. So now the switch decides which one of these paths are we taking. So for the image path, just like the edit fields that we used to extract the text, we used a Telegram get file node to extract the image. So let's run the test again, drop a photo. As you see, we have a photo right here. So Telegram compresses images into different resolutions, and you will receive several photos. We always take the biggest photo, which is photo number 3, and is right here. So we use this right here. Okay, I already have it, so I'm just gonna keep that one. So now what we need to do is to analyze the image and extract the text from the image. And for that, we use another OpenAI model, analyze image, which I already have it right here. So inside of it, we again have the same credentials. We say image resources, analyze image, and we choose ChatGPT for all latest. Then you have a text input. So I said, important, transcribe all the text inside the image until the very end. Don't leave anything out. And I also said, don't write anything extra, just the text inside the image. But as you see, there is a code node between the Telegram file and OpenAI analyze image. And there is a reason for that. For some reason, the MIME type for the Telegram image is application by default. The MIME type is the HTTP header that lets us know what is the type of the file before actually loading the entire file. So in this case, the OpenAI API expects an image, not an application. So if you send it like this, you're going to get an error. That's why we have a code in between that changes the MIME type. And I'm gonna put this one in the description as well. So after that, we have another code. This one is not that necessary, but it's a nice touch. As you see, our output is just one unified text. But when it goes into Notion, we need a title. So I just wrote the code to extract the title and then remove it from the main body of the text. And I'm gonna put this one in the description as well. And this Notion node is the same as before, just instead of the database page, we want a normal page. And then we specify the title and our main content, which we extracted in the previous node. And finally, we have a similar node to the previous one that lets us know that the job was done. So let's test it once more. As you see, it goes through OpenAI. And here we have the MyNewField as a title and content as body of the text as a paragraph. So if we check out Second Brain again, we have how psychology works as the title and the rest of the text as the body. So that's the image route. The only thing remaining is to connect OpenAI Analyze Image to Supabase vector database. And you don't have to do anything extra, it just works. For the voice route, it's very similar. You just extract the voice file, you give it to an OpenAI model which transcribes audio recordings, then you give one output to Notion and another to Supabase vector database. And that's how you make a second brain for yourself. If you want to access this template for free, just join my free AI community link down in the description. This is a community of like-minded people that really care about AI. So if anything significant happens in the world of AI, and if there are any opportunities to build some amazing tools like this one, you are going to be one of the first people on the planet to know about it and know how to use it. So don't miss this opportunity. I don't think I'm gonna keep this community free forever, so join as soon as you can. If you like more tutorials like this, or maybe an entire playlist of these, let me know in the comments. Take care of yourself and have a great day.